Welcome to Revit 2019 Demo 33. In this lecture, we're going to create a profile family. So we're going to get started continuing on from Demo 32. And we're going to go into File, New, Family. And we're going to create a profile family. So when we scroll down, we'll look for Profile. Currently, my names are, you can adjust these by clicking the name description up top here. And I'm going to look for Profile. So scrolling down, I found profile.rft. That's a Revit family template file. We'll explain these a little bit later, but for right now, we're going to pull that .rft file. So we're going to open it. Amongst opening it, we're going to go in and picture the vertical line as a wall. So this vertical line is basically a wall. And we're going to picture the horizontal line as a ceiling or a floor. Let's say floor in this case. And then continuing forward, we will create a simple base molding profile. So we're going to create lines. So we will come up top to create a line. And we will work in the upper right quadrant. So this upper right quadrant of this grid. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to draw out a base crown molding profile. So we're going to go 1.25 inches. And we're going to draw up ballparked about halfway, so about 3.5. And we'll go out about 1/4 inch, and then we'll kind of spline up or spline our way up into creating kind of a rounded profile edge. And then we'll draw this up just a hair here. And we want to make sure that the overall is about 5 inches. So we'll just hit DI dimension from here to here. We're at about 6 inches. We want this to be an overall of 5 inches. We want the width by hitting DI to be 1.25 inches. Now we can change our scale here to be a bit larger. So we can go 1.5 inches, and that'll scale things down a little bit for us. And then what we'll do is we'll draw this line back about 1/4 inch, just like, actually we'll go 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. And then we'll draw it down about 1 inch. And then from there, we can adjust this height to go down a hair and adjust this height to go up. So we've got that up. So about 2 inches there. Bump this down to about 2 inches here. Actually, let's make this 3 inches. And then from this section, we'll go ahead and create a line, and we'll create a spline. And we'll just kind of draw up, ballpark, a splined area. Now we've got our base profile trim. It's a base molding profile. So we're going to file, save as, and you're going to go ahead and save this into your project or demos folder under your families folder. And we'll go ahead and call this base molding 5 by 1-25. And we're going to hit save. Now we want to load into project and close, and it's going to load it in. And then what we can do from here is we can go to a self elevation. Actually, prior to going to a self elevation, you could adjust the profile of this wall sweep base if you wanted to. So you could edit the type, and you now have that profile loaded in, which is this one. You could apply that, and you'll see the change made live. So we're going to undo that change. Control Z, and you can see by hitting Control Y and Control Z what that affects in the view of your molding. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in and create the new sweep. So we're going to go to Self Elevation, Wall Sweep, and we're going to create that wall sweep as a type property. So we're going to duplicate Gallatin Base Sweep 5, which we don't have. So we're going to choose a wall sweep, and then we'll edit the type, duplicate it, call it Gallatin Base Sweep 5, and then we'll hit OK. We'll change the profile to match that base molding that we created, this one. And we'll keep the color, it says to make it an off-white color, so we'll go ahead and change that to be a slightly off-white. So we'll hit dot, dot, dot. We'll duplicate this and we'll call it off-white. Delete that out. And then you can change the appearance here, and we'll change this to be just an off-white. So we'll do like a, almost like a, I think that'll work. That's slightly off-white. It's a little grayer than the last one. So we'll apply an OK. Now all I did was I associated that color value to RGB 244, 244, 244. So as long as you can set that value, you'll be OK. So we'll hit OK. And then we'll place the sweep on the right wall so that we can see it in 3D. And so when we go into View 3D, you can now see what that sweep looks like. So we made our own custom value there. And that's important because if you view in on this side, you can see kind of that cut that we had. And if we turn off the line weights, which are already off, you'll see it a lot better. Now you can right-click this, and we could change the orientation, and it'll flip it upside down. So you can do that on the east side elevation as well. So if we right-click, change walls orientation, architecture, well, before we go in there, we could actually right-click, create similar, and then we'll just adjust it to there. And then that value is now swept around the corner. So you can see what it's doing. It's pulling that path and it's sweeping it, and it's actually calculating that value. So if I rotate around onto this side, that cut mark's still in there. And it's still in there as well. Now, if I truly wanted to see that, I could adjust my shading to be a wireframe, and I could see that there's an interior cut in there. But we'll go ahead and leave it on shaded for now, and we'll continue along. Now, you can do an align tool to basically join them, and that's essentially what we did. Now, the next step is to create a reveal. First, let's make a simple profile shape we can use as a reveal. So we're going to go File, New, just like we did on the last one, Family, Profile, and we're going to choose the profile and open it. And what we're going to do is the same thing. This is going to be the wall face, this is going to be the floor, and then it'll be wall, 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 wall. And the reveal needs to go into the wall, making a simple cove shape or a close starting from the wall face. So we're going to do a File, Save As. So we're going to go File, Save As, Family, and we'll save it in that same folder. And we're going to save this as Simple Cove Shape. And we saved it. And we haven't made an adjustment, so there's nothing really that we've set in per se for now. The sample project or the Gallatin project doesn't have it laid out, but for now we'll load that into the project. And can't make simple wall, so we'll delete that type for now. Let's go back in, take a look at this. So we created this shape basically, which was, we wanted a simple cove shape, and that's what we had selected. You could adjust other values in here as well, but we're not going to mess with those at all. The profile usage right now is going to be a reveal, and then our section shape you could adjust here, but we don't want to do that for right now. So we'll save this, load this back into the project, overwrite the existing parameters, cancel. The family simple cove shape.rfa could not be loaded into revit2019demo33. Resolve issues in the family and reload if needed. So what we'll do is we'll go back into the family. It appears to me that there isn't a wall inference going on here. So what we have is basically the wall inference here. So what we'll do is we'll create lines, and we'll do them as profiles, and we'll create just like a basic box for now. And that basic box is just going to be a 2-inch by 1-inch box. We'll load that into the project, overwrite the values, and then what we can do is we can view a 3D mode, go to Architecture, Wall, Reveal, and notice that it's detailed as Reveal. Now in here, if I place a reveal, it's going to create a cut within that wall. So you can see that cut there. Now what I can do is I can edit this type and associate a different profile. Now we had created a simple cove shape. Let's see what happens. Well, that simple cove shape is exterior, so it's not actually cutting correctly. So what I could do is I could go back to that reference level and I could associate that to the inside of the wall, which is here rather than here. This is outside a wall, inside a wall, hence wall line, floor line. And I'm going to just mirror this. I'm going to mirror it not as a copy, load into project, overwrite the existing version, and now when I go into a 3D view, you're going to see that cut for that cove shape. So it's just a simple cut for a reveal. So that's important to understand, especially building your own as well. Now, what we can do is we can place the reveal on the east side, which we did. We tried to match those. And there's different ways to modify the returns and all of that. But what we want to do is go to the Modify tab, and we want to look for geometry. And then inside of geometry, there's different buttons here. And what we're looking for is the Edit Wall Joins button. And I don't see an Edit Wall Joins button, but if I select a wall, I might be able to. Beam column, wall joins. So selecting that reveal again, right here is wall joins. So we can hit that. And that'll adjust how these function based on what walls are selected. So you can edit the grips and kind of modify that around walls and doors. And that helps you out a lot. What we could do is we can move this up and it automatically splits it. And then from there I can adjust that value to kind of go back if I want it to be further back rather than in the trim of that window. So there's a lot of really beneficial things. Now I can align and tab to that face and that face to ensure that they're actually aligned correctly. Did you notice how that moved? So that's super valuable. So in there, if you're cutting through windows or walls, that helps do it a lot better to where it's not actually going to overlap like this is, but it'll actually cut correctly as this is. So from there, you can adjust kind of whether or not they're mitered edges or butt edges, butt or miter, and that's depending on how they're actually connected. Now in this case, I don't have them aligned correctly, so if I aligned the bottom to the bottom there, those are now adjusted accordingly. What we could do is we could edit the wall joins here. Oops, sorry, not there. Right here, and we could adjust what's happening to those based on how you're allowing the joins. We're doing a butt end. It's actually mitered here, and that would adjust what's happening to this end condition. So that's just important to understand. If I create an architecture wall reveal as well, so I'm placing them in here, I can set this in condition, but it's not modifying it. But just know that under these conditions, you can edit the wall join. So if I select the wall as a whole rather than the sweep or geometry there, it's actually not allowing me to. Let's go into a level view, and we'll try to adjust it from a level. So we'll go to level 1. And then from here, what we could do is we could go into this wall joins button, and we'll hit this corner. And that's going to modify what happens here, whether it's a mitered edge or a butt join. And that's important to know. Like a mitered edge would be interesting, but generally it's going to be a butt. And you could change it to a square off as well. But it's going to show you what's happening to that joint. So if we change it to a miter and view that in 3D, how does that affect the wall as a whole? I don't see anything major. But if I go back to level 1 and I hit that wall, select the wall joins, and modify that corner, I can change how that corner joins. And so disallowing a join or allowing a join and whatnot. So I'm going to undo that. But that's just to give you a ballpark idea of how these walls join. You'll also see that when you right click on one of these connections, you can disallow join or drag the end as well. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this as demo project number 33, and I will see you in the next lecture.